They say summer nights are for peace, for soft breezes and warm memories. But what if a summer night becomes the only time the silence screams back? You don't forget a house that makes no sound. Not the creak of a floorboard, not the hum of a fridge, not even the buzz of a fly, just stillness. And in that stillness, something waits. My name is Ryan. I'm not one of those ghost-chasing TikTok weirdos or horror bloggers looking for clicks. I've never believed in the paranormal. Not until last summer. I was 28, broke, and desperate to escape the heat, and I ended up house sitting for a friend's uncle in northern Vermont, an old property by the woods. No neighbors for miles. It sounded like a dream. Free rent, total privacy, peace, and quiet to work on my unfinished novel. Spoiler, I never finished it. I never went back. I arrived just after sunset. The drive there was beautiful. Orange sky, the smell of pine, empty roads stretching into nowhere. Classic horror movie setup, right? But I wasn't scared. Not yet. Not even when I saw the house. It stood tall and narrow, made of gray stone and wood that hadn't seen paint in decades. Ivy snaked along the side like nature was trying to swallow it whole. There were no cars, no movement, no sounds. I stepped out of my Toyota and stood there for a moment. The heat was gone, like completely gone. No summer breeze, no bugs buzzing, nothing. Just a weird, empty air that didn't move, like the sky had taken a breath and was holding it. I told myself I was just tired. It had been a long drive, and the trees were making everything feel muffled. Still, I remember the exact moment I started feeling wrong. I grabbed my bag from the trunk, walked up to the porch, and paused. There was a sound, not from inside, but from beneath the porch. Something dry, like skin dragging across wood. I froze, listened. Nothing. Silence again. No wind. No crickets. Just my breath. I shook it off. Classic overthinking. I told myself a raccoon had crawled under there, or maybe a loose board had moved. Whatever. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The first thing I noticed was the air. It didn't smell musty or old. It didn't smell like anything, not even dust. Like I was stepping into a vacuum. The second thing I noticed was the lack of sound. No refrigerator hum, no settling of wood, not even my own footsteps echoed properly. It was like the walls swallowed sound whole. I dropped my bag in the living room and did a quick tour. The place was dated, furniture that looked like it came from the 50s, faded photographs of people with pale eyes and sharp jawlines, and windows so foggy I could barely see out. But it was clean, too clean. I called my friend, Derek, who'd asked me to house sit. "Hey, just made it," I said, trying to sound casual. "Weirdly quiet here." He laughed. "Yeah, Uncle Walter's place is like that. He always said the house liked to be left alone, whatever that means." "Creepy," said. Derek chuckled again. "You'll be fine. Just don't go poking around the basement." I froze. "Why not?" "Don't ask me, man." Walter was superstitious. Said there's mold down there or some crap. Just stay out. Besides, the door's usually locked. I didn't press. We hung up. I made a sandwich, sat down with my laptop, and tried to write. But the silence was unbearable. I turned on the fan. No sound. The blades spun, but it was dead silent. Even the lights didn't buzz. My ears felt like they were being plugged with cotton. I clapped once just to hear something, and it came out flat, like clapping in a dream. Then came the knock. It was faint, soft, tap, tap. I looked at the front door. Nothing. Tap. I checked the back door. Nothing. I stepped outside. Still no sound. No wind. No leaves rustling. No bugs. The air felt thicker now. When I came back inside, the basement door was open. I swear it was shut when I arrived. It had a chain lock dangling from the knob, swinging just slightly, like it had just been unlatched. And I'll never forget the smell, like pennies and wet dirt. I stood there frozen, heart racing, until I finally slammed the door shut, latched it, and moved a chair in front of it. My rational brain was screaming it was the wind, but there was no wind. Nothing moved. That night, I barely slept. Every few minutes, I think I heard something. Not loud, just breathing. Not mine. Slower, deeper, coming from the walls. By the time the clock hit 3:07 a.m., I was wide awake, blanket clutched in both fists, sweat rolling down my temples. Then, the door creaked open again. Only this time, I was watching it. I didn't blink, not once. The basement door creaked open like it had waited for me to be watching, like it wanted to show me. See? You can't stop this. And still, no sound, no creak of hinges, no click of wood, just the motion. That unnatural, whisper, slow swing. I stared into the blackness beyond the doorframe. It was darker than night, a kind of darkness you don't see outside. Thick and deliberate, like it had weight, like it was alive. I whispered, "Hello?" My voice sounded off, like it had been filtered through a wet towel, like the air around me didn't want sound to leave. The basement smelled like rot and iron, like old blood that had dried and fermented for decades. My stomach turned, and my heart thundered in my ears, but somehow, even that didn't make a sound. It was like the house had silenced even my body. I grabbed my phone for a flashlight, but the screen was black, dead. fully charged before I came here. Now, it wouldn't even flicker. Okay, I wasn't doing this. Whatever was going on, I wasn't walking into a dark, soundless basement in the middle of the night. I slammed the door and locked it double. Then I wedged a broom handle through the knob and the wall bracket. Let's see it open now. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Just sat there in that weird, muffled silence, staring at the basement door like it was going to lunge at me. At sunrise, if you could call it that, I bolted outside. Even the birds weren't singing. That's when I started to panic. I'm not crazy. I know birds. Even in winter, you hear something. But this? Nothing. No wind. No birds. No bugs. No breeze. It felt like I was inside a painting. I called Derek again. You didn't tell me the house was haunted. He laughed, but it was thin. What are you talking about? The door opened by itself, twice. My phone died. I can't hear anything. Not even birds. You never mentioned the house being wrong. He went quiet. Then he said something that chilled me deeper than anything else. I didn't mention the basement either, but you still found that, didn't you? I didn't answer. Ryan, my uncle disappeared last year. That house was empty for months. No cops, no signs of break-in. He vanished. The only clue they found? A single message written in dust on the basement floor. It said, "It doesn't want me to leave." I nearly dropped the phone. What do you mean it? I don't know. My uncle said the house listened. That silence was its way of watching. He used to say, when it gets quiet, it means it's awake. I thought he was being paranoid. Now I'm not so sure. Why didn't you tell me this before? I thought you wouldn't believe me. I hung up. I wanted out. I was packed by noon. Laptop bag, keys, ready to go. But when I opened the door, there was no world outside. Let me say that again. No world. Not fog. Not darkness. Just nothing. A blank canvas. Pure white. Like the world beyond the threshold had been erased. I shut the door. Reopened it. Same thing. I tried the back door. Same void. I ran upstairs. Looked out the window. Nothing. The trees? Gone. The gravel road? Gone. Even the sky was gone. Just a soft, glowing blankness stretching into infinity. I screamed, or tried to. Nothing came out, not even a whisper. I fell to my knees and banged the floor with both fists. No sound, not even the feeling of impact. My body was moving, but the house was swallowing every sense I had. Then I felt it, from beneath the floorboards. Movement. Not a rodent, not a pipe. No, something large, something aware. It didn't thump. It didn't growl. It vibrated. A slow, pulsing presence that I could feel in my bones, like something was waking up, and I was trapped in its mouth. I sat on the floor for what felt like hours, knees pulled to my chest like a child hiding from a nightmare. But there was no hiding now. The thing under the floor moved with purpose, slowly, patiently, almost like it knew I had nowhere else to go. The house wasn't just quiet, it was expectant. Every wall felt like an ear pressed against me, every object like an eye. And then, for the first time in what felt like eternity, I heard something. A whisper. But not with my ears. It echoed from somewhere inside me, like it had bypassed every sense and drilled straight into my mind. Go down. That's it. 2 words. But they felt ancient, heavy, like stone being dragged across bone. I stood up involuntarily. My knees didn't want to. My brain was screaming, sit back down. But something deeper, more primal, obeyed. I took a step toward the basement. The broom handle I'd wedged into the lock had been snapped in half. The door stood wide open again, and this time, the blackness inside wasn't passive. It looked like it was pulling, not light, not wind. It was pulling reality into itself. I raised my phone again. Somehow, it worked now, but the flashlight didn't illuminate the stairs. It just vanished into the black. I thought about calling Derek, but what would I say? Hey man, your uncle's house ate the world, and now it's whispering in my brain. Sure, solid plan. Instead, I did something really, really stupid. I stepped inside. The instant my foot touched the first stair, I felt like I was being watched by something with no eyes and no form. Just pure attention. And this wasn't the kind of, I'm not alone feeling you get in a dark hallway.